So what part of that is cozying up to the right-wing bitch?
I hate snakes like you.
I think you're an idiot. I think you love that coup on January 6th. I think you hate our democracy. I think you hate our Constitution. Okay, listen, brother. As you see me bitch slapping you right here on national airwaves.
The only thing you can bitch slap.
What part of that seems like cozying up? What's the part of that seems like cozying up to the right?
We have your words on record. You flip-flop. You're the biggest flip-flopper on the left. You're known for it. People make fun of you for it because you move positions. You and Anna Kasparian both move positions like a tube of toothpaste.
Oh, Trump!
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So as you've seen in that introduction video, we're going to watch this absolutely heated debate, entertaining debate from the Piers Morgan show between Andrew Wilson and Cenk Uygur. Snake Uygur. You're gonna know what I mean by that by the end of this video here. But basically, you're gonna have Andrew call out Cenk for being dishonest and flip-flopping and trying to cozy up to conservatives and to the right wing, right? So anyway, let's not waste any time and get straight into this video.
Cenk, let me start with you. It's been a blizzard of stuff going on, as always in Trump world. But it seems, unlike 2016, that this time there's a kind of laser focus and a plan to what Trump is doing. He's had time to think about this, time to work out what he got right and wrong first time, and he's hit the ground very hard, running very fast, really to try and send a message, right, this is the new America. What do you make of it?
Yeah, so first of all, credit to him on both the optics and the action, right? So when a Democrat gets in office, they immediately start saying, our voters have to push us to do the right thing. And then they say, don't push, push, don't push, push, don't push. Hey, how about we elect you and you do your goddamn job, right? And for Democrats, that seems to be a really hard ask, right? So that's why I'm so frustrated with my own party. Trump comes in and goes, you want to see something? Boom, here we go, day one. Oh, signing after signing after signing, executive order after executive order. So give him credit for that. Number two, give credit to Susie Wiles, who ran a brilliant campaign and now seems to be running a very tight ship as the chief of staff. Now, when it comes to the actual orders, I disagree with tons and tons of them. Some of them are expected. We're getting out of the Paris Climate Treaty, which is a disaster for us to get out of. But once Trump's elected, that's fait accompli. So it's not like you should be overly surprised by that. The pardons of the violent criminals on January 6th is unacceptable, except for the fact that it was super obvious that he was going to do it, right? And then when he gets to the absurdities like birthright, taking away birthright citizenship, I think he does that as kind of a squirrel to distract people and get everybody to focus on that while he passes everything else, because that has no chance. That's wildly unconstitutional. And by the way, I would hope that MAGA would realize things that are unconstitutional and go, wait, we're supposed to love this document. I can't have you going outside the Constitution and outside the law.
Okay, Andrew, your response.
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of problems here. So the first problem is these were not violent criminals who were released. These were political prisoners who were released. What happened is there was no fair application of the law whatsoever. These guys were being tried in D.C. There was a political witch hunt. We have more evidence every single day which provides for that. And why these guys are busy now complaining and showing us, oh, down here on the border, we have a mom crying because she might be separated from her kid. Nobody's commenting on the fact that we have a ton of families that just got reunited. And on behalf of all of the Wilsons of the world, welcome home. January 6ers, it's guys like this that wanted to put you away in a hole, in a dark hole, absent due process, and throw away the key. These were not violent criminals. By the way,
well, hang on. Okay, but Andrew, hang on. Let me just stop you there. So I actually interviewed one of the protesters, Jacob, who was the QAnon shaman guy. And I also had a Capitol police officer who'd been working that day. And what they both agreed, very interestingly, was that they both condemned the violence against police officers that day. So if you can have one of the protesters who've just been pardoned concede that the violence that was perpetrated by some of the protesters was wrong, unacceptable, and should be condemned, why would you categorize it as non-violent?
Well, I didn't categorize it as non-violent. I said these are not violent criminals, which is how it's being framed.
But if you're perpetrating violence against police officers, it is, isn't it?
What? How many? A few? A couple? This guy on May 30th of 2020 The White House was under siege. It was attacked. Over 100 Secret Service agents injured. We had they were burning down stations. This guy said, "Oh, well, Trump had to go hide out in his bunker." Can you imagine if the roles were reversed and Donald Trump came out and was like, "Oh, AOC had to go hide. Oh, these politicians had to go hide"? He doesn't care about political violence. The left doesn't care about political violence at all. They'll use it when it's expedient for them. They always do. Pointing to a couple of bad actors at this thing and saying all of them have to be thrown away. And, you know, the key thrown away with them is insanity. And no, I don't think so. I think it's a miscategorization to frame all of them as violent criminals. And that's
well,
exactly
they weren't all violent at all. I mean,
that's what he was doing. That's what he was framing it, though.
Yeah, no, listen, I don't, and Cenk, I do not agree with that. I don't think all the 1,500 were violent. In fact, we know for a fact they weren't. A lot of them were not convicted of violence.
Yeah, I didn't say that at all.
You did say that.
So, look, no, all right, whatever, dude. So on the Young Turks, we've been super clear about this, and as always, we're the one guys set of people who are fair. You'll see both sides do all this extreme stuff like Andrew's doing. So first of all, the people who went to the speech of Donald Trump, a lot of times they get thrown into this, and I have always said, no, that's not fair. They didn't go down to the Capitol. For the people who went to the Capitol, it's an obvious crime to break into the Capitol, and why were they doing that? They were trying to overturn the results of the election. So you could blah, blah, blah on all your talking points, but it's absurdity. Obviously, they were trying to hurt our democracy. They were trying to steal that election. And were some of them violent? Were all of them violent? No. Were some of them violent? Obviously. We have eyes and ears. So you can do all the propaganda you want, but we just watch the tape of them trying to beat the crap out of the cops. I thought you guys cared about cops. I care about crime. I'm against crime, and you know, and we take heat sometimes from the left because they think that crime is a right-wing narrative and doesn't actually exist. Well, the voters just showed you it does exist, and they're pissed about it. But they're also pissed about it when you go beat up cops for Trump. So look, I'm past it because the American people voted. They put Trump back in office, and that's pretty definitive. I didn't want that, but it happened, right? But if you're going to try to do revisionist history, that these were some patriots who showed up for a picnic, but oh golly gee, there was a Capitol, so they started to bust in and beat the living crap out of the cops, and oh, he lost the election, but oh no, it was stolen, so they go and try to do a coup attempt. I hate it. I think it's a terrible precedent, and I think every time you guys defend it, you sound absurd, and it sounds like overwhelming, ridiculous propaganda.
Andrew?
Yeah, what it's about is a fair application of law. And
what it's about is the hypocrisy from the left and from the Democrats, right? They want you to sit there and condemn the violence, which most Republicans have, which most conservatives have condemned the actual violence and the violence on the police officers, right? They want to point that out. But the left and these Democrats, they were celebrating the violence with the BLM riots, the Antifa riots, the pro-life versus whatever, right? Roe versus Wade riots, right? All these riots. So many damn riots, I forgot. Right? All of these riots, the left was celebrating. They didn't condemn the violence. They actually were encouraging it. They were actually encouraging more aggressive violence. They were telling people to get in their faces. Right? So they celebrate that, but want to be hypocritical and call out Republicans and Donald Trump for not condemning the violence on January 6th. Well, most Republicans that I've seen actually condemned. They actually came out and said, "Yeah, no, we don't, you know, we're not for that." Right? They've actually said that. I don't know if I recall a Democrat politician that was like, "Yeah, we're not for those BLM protesters. Like, we don't side with that. We're not for the BLM violence and burning the cities down." I haven't heard a Democrat politician say that. I haven't. And if they did, it's probably one or two, not the majority, where it is on the January 6th side, where you have the majority of Republicans saying, yeah, the violence, that should have never happened. That's the biggest difference.
And there has not been fair application of law here. Cenk himself cannot even do fair application of law. At the same time, he says, "Oh, they're trying to coup and overthrow the democracy." It's exactly what happened May 30th when they were attacking the White House. They were attacking Secret Service agents. They wanted to get in there, and all he could do was whine about how Trump had to get sent to a bunker. Where was his outrage about the coup d'etat? Where was he when Black Lives Matter was burning down cities?
There was no coup
Nowhere.
on May 30th. It was a protest.
He was saying instead, Cenk, I didn't interrupt you once. Do you think he calmed down for me?
You see, he just categorized it. It was a protest. But when conservatives and January 6th protesters say it was a protest, it was not an insurrection. First of all, it was not an insurrection. That was the weakest insurrection in the world. That was not an insurrection. It was a protest that got out of hand. Just like all these other protests. They're on the same level. The BLM riots were definitely way more violent, in my opinion, and way more destructive and cost way more money than January 6th. But you see how you just categorized that as, oh, it's just a protest. Oh, it's just a protest. That's what January 6th was. It was just a protest that got out of hand. It got out of hand when the police started to get violent, started pepper spraying people, and started throwing tear gas on the rioters and the protesters, right? That's what I saw. But hey.
So anyway, what's going on, very simply, is that he has the revisionist history. While at the same time, the Democrats are saying, you got to stay home and stay masked up. They're telling other people, go outside, burn down cities, make Chaz chop, a nice free independent zone. I don't know how you could say that that's anything other than an insurrection, to say that this is now no longer part of the United States government, have your own armed militia there. The entire 9 yards, May 30th, they attack. And this guy says nothing. Suddenly, J6, though, oh my God, they're violent extremists. They're going to overthrow democracy. It's all nonsense. It's not fairly applied. He's never fairly applied it. The laws has never been fairly applied to the J6ers. They were tried in D.C., not in front of impartial juries. And here's how our law works. Our law works like this. 1,000 walk free, so one guilty person doesn't spend a day in prison. That is the precedent for our law. That's why they got pardoned, and it's exactly why they should have.
Yeah, and Andrew, on the ending the birthright citizenship.
Can I just address
hang on, Cenk. I'll come to you in a moment. Response. On what Cenk mentioned also about the ending the birthright citizenship is one of the executive orders. Do you think Trump intends to do that? Because it seems to me he's already won the debate about illegal immigrants who are here are criminals in America.
Yep.
Everyone pretty much agrees they should be sent back, including the million who've already been processed but haven't been deported yet. So all of that seems to be very popular, but there is a lot of anger about the idea that you may end what seems to be a very American thing, the very ethos of the country, this birthright citizenship. What do you feel?
It's a very un-American thing. The 14th, or I'm sorry, this was never, by the way, never set up so that people could come in, have a baby, and then anchor themselves to the child. And that's what's been going on. And it's been going on for years. We know it's been going on for years. This was designed for things like for immigrants who came in legally. They have children here. Of course, those are United States citizens. Nobody's disputing that. What we're disputing is that you can just come in illegally, have a child on American soil, and then try to anchor yourself to that child. That is not in the spirit of what we're even talking about. Of course, Trump wants to end it. It's bad policy across the board. It's always been bad policy across the board. And I hope the Supreme Court, it gets challenged by the Supreme Court so we could get it in front of them so that they can interpret it correctly, because that's not the way this is supposed to be applied.
Cenk?
Yeah, so first let me address what he said, and then I'll come back to this. So look, guys, what happened on May 30th was nothing but a protest. But if they attack Secret Service guys, then they should be arrested. That's a violent crime. I'm principled on both of those things. And in Portland, when they took over a portion of the city, I was against it. Like, well, that's not a thing. You don't get to take over a portion of a city. I was against it when gangs took over apartment complexes and buildings in Colorado. So if Trump stays with things that the American people are in favor of, getting rid of the violent felons that are undocumented here, that's going to be very popular, whether the left likes it or doesn't like it, right? But when he goes too far and he goes to things like birthright citizenship, then people are going to push back. And that's when it gets interesting. Is Trump going to double down and go, no, I'm going to, go to demagogue on this and get you people to hate foreigners coming in, et cetera, and I don't care what the Constitution says, and we're going to change the way America is, and you're no longer an American if you're born here. We're going to judge you based on where you're from, et cetera. That'll be very unpopular. Does he dig in, or does he, as he does sometimes, go, man, you know what? I gave it a shot, didn't work, and retract? I hope that that's the direction he goes, because this whole look, brother, if you have a problem with a part of the Constitution, you need to go through the right process. You need to go and do an amendment. Like, I want to do an amendment to get money out of politics. But when Biden was in office, I didn't think he should just come in and go, forget what the Supreme Court said. Forget what the Constitution said. Let's go nuts and do whatever the hell we want. That's not how it works.
Y'all did that when he tried to forgive student loans.
I never thought about that. I didn't.
Yeah, they didn't say that when he tried to forgive student loans. When the Supreme Court told him that it was not constitutional for him to do that, the left was like, Democrats are like, oh well, hell with that. Let him do it.
We're supposed to go through a process of law for these things, which is exactly what Trump is doing via his executive order, which then hopefully will get it in front of the Supreme Court, which looks like that's what the plan is.
That's part of the legal process.
By the way, just so you know, the interpretation of this, that's what we're really talking about, is the interpretation. Ultimately here, it is not, and you need to agree with me on this, it is not in the spirit that you can come in and have a child here and anchor yourself to the child specifically so that you have some pathway or motivation to citizenship. You say it's not a part of the legal process. Yes, these challenges, getting in front of the Supreme Court, getting in front of various courts is part of the process. It's been done this way time and time and time again. Also, I reject categorically what you said, just lied to the audience. You called Trump bunker boy, right? He was going down to the bunker during the protest to inspect it. Ha, 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 right? You didn't care at all. Yeah. You weren't denouncing political violence. You weren't denouncing these people getting beat up. You didn't care when the violence is on your side like a typical Democrat. You don't care at all, Cenk. You don't care. And you've never cared. The only reason you care now is because you want to kiss.
And I condemn it every time people do violence. Literally every time.
I'll say snake. But the thing is, Snake, is that you're just trying to kiss the right wing's ass now to get back in with them because the left has categorically rejected you, and that's what's actually happening.
Cenk, is that what's happening?
All right, you amuse me. Yeah, this guy amuses me. So, like, you think calling me Snake is going to somehow win you the debate? Good luck with that childish.
I already won the debate.
Way of going. Oh, you did because you said it. Okay, that, by the way, another great debating tactic. Just saying you won. And second of all, we have 27 million. How many times do I have to say this? 27 million subscribers, 30 billion lifetime views. You're a pimple on my ass. I literally don't even know who you are. So you come in here talking about audience.
Wash your ass, Cenk. You shouldn't have pimples on your ass.
And you're a snake. Okay, you're a turtle. You're a scorpion.
Audience.
Whatever. Do I win now?
I didn't say anything about audience. What are you talking about? Are you a lunatic?
You did. You just said, oh yeah, the left wing's audience has got a problem with it. I know the left wing better than he does. Oh yeah,
you're trying to cozy up with right wingers. What were you doing at TPUSA, Cenk? Trying to cozy in with right-wingers like Charlie Kirk, kissing their ass. You're literally kissing up to them because you want in good, because the left is rejecting center-left policies now. That's what's happening.
Hey, brother.
They either want to go far left or far right.
Wow.
Okay, listen, brother. As you see me bitch-slapping you right here on national airwaves.
The only thing you can bitch slaps.
What part of that seems like cozying up? What's the part of that seems like cozying up to the right? I think you're an idiot. I think you love that coup on January 6th. I think you hate our democracy. I think you hate our Constitution. So what part of that is cozying up to the right wing? Bitch?
I hate snakes like you who try to get in as good as you can with a weak right like Charlie Kirk when you have weaponized political violence yourself.
Oh, Charlie Kirk is weak right and you're strong right.
At the same time, at the same time, you say, wait a second. Oh, I can't believe the J6ers coup d'etat. You didn't give a damn. You've never given a damn. We have your words on record. You flip-flop. You're the biggest flip-flopper on the left. You're known for it. People make fun of you for it because you move positions. You and Anna Kasparian both move positions like a tube of toothpaste.
Oh, Trump! I love Trump! Oh, I love Trump so much.
And all you care about is Trump derangement syndrome. All you have is Trump derangement syndrome.
All right, let me try.
TDS, always on display.
But wait a minute.
Time out.
I got to say one thing.
You both made your feelings clear.
How can you say that I'm cozying up to the right and say I have Trump derangement syndrome?
All right.
Make up your mind. You're a very poor thinker.
We watched the entirety of his entire first term. You were Russia. He's a colluder. He's evil. He's this and that. And he flip-flopped on that position the second it was politically expedient.
Okay. Let me try
None of those things are true.
Let me try and move on to guys, let's move on to some policy debate.
Yeah, so we're going to stop it right there. Finally, somebody calling out Snake. That's what we're going to call him. Cenk Uygur for flip-flopping and not being honest, right? I love it. That's what they've been doing. He's right. Anna Kasparian himself, Charlemagne, Stephen A. Smith, Bill Maher. I mean, all of these people are finally starting to see the truth, right? BS, you can't play with us like that. Y'all are just a bunch of grifters, and that's what you're going to be. That's what you're going to be, and that's what you are. Cenk, just admit to it. Stay on your side. Keep pushing your left-wing lunatic ideologies like you always have. And, you know, hopefully people will start to trust you eventually, but I don't think so. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Hope you enjoyed this heated debate here on the Piers Morgan Show. Let's talk about it in the comment section. Hit the like button down below. And if you are brand new, consider hitting subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.